Welcome back to Gearhead. I'm John, and I am in science mode today. We're gonna go ahead and talk real quick-ish about ride height and how to plan your ride height. So oh man, I opened up a can of worms. Oh man. Okay, but really, there's a lot of factors involved. You gotta know what's your vehicle, what you want the stance to be. So maybe you want to sit factory ride height, maybe you want to sit super low. Things like that play a huge factor. And then we got other things to consider, like in my case, big tire car, rear tire size makes a huge difference. We got wheel size makes a difference. Your suspension makes a difference. Your engine placement makes a difference. All these things come around to the same basic factor of, like what's doing what to what and when and where and why. Does that make sense? Doesn't to me either. But what I'm really here to talk about is tire size. Tire size will very much so impact our wheel and, our stance ride height, however you want to consider it. In my case, I'm worried about two things. I want my car to be halfway low. I don't want it to be stupid low. I don't want to be dragging stuff on the ground. But I also want it to have that good, aggressive, hunkered down look. I want it to be all down here, And also the other thing you have to consider is I'm running big tires in the rear. So that makes a big difference on how my suspension is going to sit inside the car. I know a couple things. I would like to run a 31-inch tire. Right now I have a 32-inch tire in the car, so we're going to talk probably about a 32-inch tire. If you can see, I am splitting rear suspension and front suspension, and we're just going to go ahead and get into that here in a second. But one thing you guys got to really consider is your front suspension angles. So your front suspension is designed to be maxed all the way up. It's not designed to be maxed all the way down. It's got to be in the middle. So having said that, I know a couple of things with this setup, with my goals, where I'm aiming with it. Where I have the rear tire on the car right now would put the rear rim, the bottom of that rim is going to be even with the rocker panel. So in this case, it's kind of hard to tell because, crayons and stuff, but this is the bottom of that rear lip. This is the bottom of the rocker panel. Now, we have a couple things to consider here. Whenever that front suspension is at its optimal position, which I would say not dead middle, but a little bit extended from middle, so you have more room to go up. The front wheel is actually sitting fairly close, but a little bit low. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're gonna say that front wheel is sitting dead even with the bottom of that. And I know it looks worse from here. Look at that. It's accurate. So anyways, back to this car on the 32-inch tires. The front tires I have, you can kind of see it behind me there, hidden. That's a 24-inch tire. So you're looking at a big difference, 8 inches. And a real 8 inches. So, I'm looking into what to prepare for. How is this, if I put this on the car right now, this tire combo with the suspension where it's sitting, and we're just saying that the suspension is gonna be right where it's at. How's my car gonna sit? Well, pretty simple math on that type of deal. So where we're sitting right now, the car's up off the ground. It's roughly 26 inches from the floor to the bottom of the rocker panel, where it's sitting, thus the bottom of the wheels. It's sitting flat right now, so it's really hard to get an idea of what it's gonna look like. But we can math it out real quick. So we're gonna take our handy dandy expo markers and we're gonna do some math. So we're gonna call this our 15-inch wheel, 15-foot wheel, and we're running 32-inch tire, and that's 32 inches tall. But we're gonna only care about half of them. So we're gonna go here, halfway to there, 7.5 inches. That's the bottom of the wheel, not that that really matters. We're gonna go here to the bottom of the tire. That is roughly 16 inches. Now, we know, and we'll cross that out, we're only worried about the half. We know that 7.5 inches is from the center line to the bottom of the rim. Likewise, 16 is from the bottom of the tire to the center line. So we can take our 7.5 inches away from our 16, and that'll give us our sidewall, what we're gonna have hanging out underneath that tire. So when we go ahead and do that, that gives us our sidewall height. And in a roundabout way, that's gonna give us our rear end stance starting point. Now we can always adjust the suspension up down. We can always do a lot of changes. We can change tire size. We can change a lot of things, but not today. So that's going to give us this number right here. Oh, geez Louise, 8.5 inches. 8.5 inches, right? 16 minus 7.5, 8.5 inches. So I got 8.5 inches from the bottom of the rocker to the ground. Now roughly, we're not going to go ahead and get carried away with tire squat, things like that, suspension settle, but we're just going to say this is ride height. This is driving down the road ride height. So we're at 8.5 inches in the rear. On the front side, same thing. 15-inch wheel. We know that half of that, 7.5. 24-inch tire. That is going to be, I'm not a good drawer. That is roughly 12 inches. From the center line to the bottom of that wheel, the bottom of the tire, bottom of the tire, 12 inches. So that's a pretty short height compared to our original 16-inch right here. We're looking at 12 this time. Simple math. We can go ahead and use this number if we want. 7.5 out of 12 is only 4.5 inches. So our sidewall, 4.5 inches. Bottom of the rim to the ground, 4.5 inches. Our rear, 8.5 inches. Okay? Okay. Science. So that puts us right here. Our front ride height to the ground, 4.5 inches. Right? Simple. Now, as I said, right now, this line where it's sitting on the frame table, because the frame table is level, it's level front to back, left to right, it's crossways, it's good, clean, whatever, because that's how you want to build a car. You don't want to build a car on a hill because then it's never going to sit straight, it's never going to be flat. So, here we are. We got our front end, we'll call it right here, and we got our rear end right here. Now, that is the ground, and we are looking at our rocker panel starting right here at 4.5, but back here, look at 8.5 inches. So, we have a pretty aggressive rake. Now you're looking at this number right here, 4 inches. 4 inches is a lot. And I know. Just trust me, I know. 4 inches is huge for rake. Now, if you go and do your own research and make up your own decision, maybe that's what you want to have. Maybe you like that 70s, shackled up muscle car look. You want to get that big ass hunkered up in the air and get it twerking. Great. You do you. That's fine. It's going to affect a lot of things. It's going to affect how the car takes off. It's going to affect how it handles. It's going to affect how it rides. The whole 9 yards. But you do you. It's not my business, not my deal, whatever. But, if you go and look at people like Tim McCanus, really high-end race cars, we're talking 6-figure race cars all day long. No big deal. That's what they do. Those guys say that they want to see about 1 inch. 1 inch of rake, front to rear. Well, aside from the science part of that, there is a lot of reasons. Flat is good, and it gets better weight transfer that way. If you have your front end way down, you're gonna have a lot of transfer. It's gonna wanna try and pick up a lot farther. Well, if the back end's about level with the front end, and it's gonna not have so far to go, blah, 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 blah. Science. So, what do I need to do? I need bigger front tires. I don't want to change my suspension. I don't want to change my spindles. I have a 2-inch drop spindles on the front of this car, 2-inch. Now this, months and months ago when I started putting stuff together for this project, I wanted it to be low. And I knew that with a 31 to 32 inch tire, I was gonna have to have that tire tucked pretty high up in there to keep this number low. I've already done this math 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I knew that it was gonna have to be low. And I also knew that, I mean, these wheels were sitting around, they don't have to be used, I can always do something else. But these being a 24-inch tire, well, if I did that, 24-inch tire, 15-inch center line would actually, with the stock front end, would be roughly, this number would be about 5.5 inches. So then we're looking at 5.5 inches out of your 12, you're 6.5 inches, so you're at your 2 inches less rake if I just went to stock spindles. Get rid of these 2-inch drops, I would basically have a pretty decent setup. It'd be a little bit less than ideal, but consider it ideal. I can always make that rear end adjust up just a skosh more. You know, most rear ends on these race cars have multiple height settings. Anyways, back to what I was trying to get at. So if I want to take my 4-inch rake and get it down to a 1-inch rake, I need to come up 3 inches in the front, roughly. So, this leads me to simple math. 24-inch tire is what I'm working with. Now, if I want to go up 3 inches in the front, that means I need a 6-inch bigger tire if we're relying strictly on tire. So that's going to be 6 inches, because 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, you're extending your diameter down 3 inches, not 6. So we need a 30-inch tire, roughly. And that's fine. Now, personally, I don't want a 30-inch tire because I like the look of a less high-profile sidewall. Now, when it all comes down to it, I know that this center line isn't exactly dead line across, but for the purposes of this video, that's where we're at. So, I'm gonna take this 24-inch wheel with this little tiny 4-inch sidewall, 4.5-inch sidewall, and I'm gonna give it another probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I'm gonna go up to roughly a 26-inch tire, probably 26. Now I know that's only gonna give me 1 inch, but I know with my vehicle how it sits, how it technically is, how it actually measures out. That's gonna put me where I want. Gotta go up that extra inch for height, and that'll get me a pretty sleek rake, roughly 1.5 inches, and that's running on, you know, optimal tire pressures, you know, and I'm talking like, you know, 30 psi pressure. Not that you're gonna run the rear tires at the track. You're gonna drop that down, maybe go down to 12 pounds, 8 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark, which is gonna squat that back end down more, blah, blah, blah. Big tire cars don't work like your daily street car or whatever, so obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's it. We want to just do quick calculations. We know I want, and you can start from the back way. Say, I want 1-inch rake, 1 inch, and I got, let's say, I mean, I don't know. What do you want to do? Like small tire car, regular old wheels. Maybe you want to go with a 28-inch wheel in the rear, and that'll give you a 14-inch center line at the bottom of the tire. Take away your 7.5 inches for your wheel. That's 5.5 inches, right? And then you could take this same basic setup and you could have your wheel sitting down 3 inches lower, or your center line, your axle center line sitting down 3 inches lower, and still maintain that similar rake, or excuse me, ride height. And then that also leaves you with, it's easier to do a front setup on those because you don't have a big old 30-some inch super swamper in the back. You can run your 26-inch tire up front. There's your 1 inch. So wrap this one up. That's scientific stuff that I really don't, I don't know a whole lot about, but I do just enough research to get by, and you can do the same. Like, subscribe, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments if I'm doing awesome or if I'm doing terrible. Maybe you think my hat should be sideways, and maybe my glasses should be upside down. You tell me, let me know. Do you want to see more content like this? Yeah, no? Maybe you'd like to see Nate and I do some of these type videos. Do a little science content, just a little fun learning stuff. Let us know, and by all means, please, please, please subscribe. It'll help the channel grow. It'd be very much appreciated. Even if you don't like the video, hit the like button. I'll send you a thank you card. Something. But anyways, thanks for checking me out. See you guys next time.